By the autumn of 1941, the Arctic front had settled into a frozen stalemate. The dream of ceasing. When the Germans attacked, they were met not with retreat, but with steel and fire. Murmansk had turned into a war of attrition. Dial's troops were exhausted, their ranks thinned by frostbite, disease, and sniper fire. Supplies were running low. Fuel froze in barrels, food rotted. In the open, the mountain troops began to dig themselves into the tundra, building dugouts lined with snow and birch bark, living like animals in burrows of ice. The front had turned static, a frozen scar across the map. Hitler, impatient as ever, demanded progress. He could not comprehend how a few Soviet divisions could stop his elite troops. But Dial knew the truth. The Arctic itself had chosen sides. "The terrain is worth 3 divisions to the enemy," he wrote in his field report. It fights for him. The winter that followed was one of the most brutal in human memory. Temperatures plunged below -40 degrees Celsius. Men froze to death in their sleep. Wolves prowled the edges of the camps, drawn by the smell of corpses. In the darkness of the polar night, there was no sun for weeks, only the faint green glow of the aurora flickering, like ghosts over the battlefield. The Soviets, accustomed to the cold, adapted better. They built shelters lined with moss and reindeer hide. Their supply lines, though primitive, were steady. Local Sami guides helped move food and ammunition through blizzards, using sleds drawn by dogs or reindeer. Every meter of ground was contested, every ridge a fortress. When spring came, the thaw brought no relief. The frozen corpses thawed first, filling the air with the stench of death. The rivers flooded, washing away bridges and trenches alike, but the front did not move. The Germans remained trapped west of the Litsa River. Murmansk remained Soviet. By 1942, Hitler's Arctic offensive had effectively ended. Murmansk, the city that was supposed to fall within weeks, stood defiant. Its factories, battered but functioning, continued to produce shells and torpedoes. Its harbor teemed with Allied ships. Even under constant bombing, its workers refused to evacuate. They wore heavy coats and steel helmets, welding and loading in sub-zero temperatures as bombs fell around them. Murmansk was earning its nickname, the Hero City of the North. The cost was staggering. Over 100,000 men were killed, wounded, or frozen on both sides of the Arctic front. Yet the strategic result was clear. The Soviet lifeline through Murmansk had survived. Hitler's dream of strangling the USSR from the north had failed. And so the front froze again, not for weeks, but for years. Between the mountains and the sea, the German and Soviet lines hardened into permafrost. Soldiers on both sides settled into a grim rhythm of survival, fighting an invisible enemy made of snow, silence, and fear. Murmansk, the frozen gateway, had withstood the storm. Beneath the aurora borealis, it glowed faintly, not as a beacon of conquest, but as a symbol of endurance. For the first time